Darky.
And we are live. We are live, guys. We are live, guys. My bad. Sorry. Oh, all right. Hold on a second. I've got Mr. H here with me, and I've got brother JM here with me as well. And I'm just going to play a little video for you guys for context about what we're going to be talking about today. It's not going to be a long stream, nothing long, but it's definitely going to be an interesting one. Hold on a second. It's just for context, guys. Just for context. That's all it is. All right.
Israel has ended the ceasefire in Gaza, launching airstrikes overnight, killing hundreds of people. In the last hour, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu defended Israel's actions, saying this is just the beginning.
We have resumed combat in full force, along with the Minister of Defense. I accepted the recommendation of the heads of the security establishment and the IDF to resume intense fighting against Hamas. From this point on, Israel will act against Hamas with growing intensity. From this point on, the negotiations will only be done under fire. Hamas, in the past day, has felt the force of our weapons in the past day, and I want to tell you that this is just the beginning. We will continue to fight in order to achieve all of the war goals.
The strikes took place in major cities across the Strip and have continued through the day. Israel's Prime Minister has accused Hamas of proposals to extend the ceasefire, which has been in place since January. Hamas says mediators should hold Israel fully responsible for violating the truce. Israel has been blocking aid going into Gaza since the start of this month. The BBC and other news organisations are, of course, prevented from reporting from Gaza by Israel. John Donnison watched today's events unfold from Sderot, near the Israeli-Gaza border, and a warning his report contains distressing images.
In the dark of night, Israel shattered Gaza's fragile ceasefire. The message, the war's not over, and neither is the horror. He'll be lucky if he gets out alive. Today was one of the deadliest days of the last 18 months. The Strip's crippled healthcare system and hospitals were quickly overwhelmed. They're bombing people in tents, he screams. At least 174 children were killed, according to the Ministry of Health, which operates under Hamas.
One little boy had two injuries to his heart, a cracked right liver, an injury to his small bowel, his stomach, and his colon, and an injury to his left lung. I'm sure he will die.
And with the number killed today over 400 and climbing, many are already saying their last goodbyes. In Israel, in Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, the news terrified some of the families of those still being held by Hamas, among them twins Gali and Ziv Berman.
Israel government is not perfect, and clearly is not doing enough because my brothers are not home. But if Hamas wanted, the hostages will be back. They are in their hands. They are right now in Gaza, not in Tel Aviv.
We will show no mercy on our enemies. Let me be very clear. Israel will not stop until all of our hostages are back home.
With Gaza already in ruins, it's the most vulnerable who are suffering the most. But after a year and a half of war, the Israeli government is sticking to its belief that Hamas only responds to force. It thinks military pressure will win it concessions if negotiations resume. But with hundreds more now dead, the optimists are few and far between. John Donnison, BBC News, on the Israel-Gaza border.
How'd you guys feel about that?
Well, I was listening very carefully to the language that's being used. So, for example, you're hearing words like "we're fighting against" or like there's some type of active war going on. There is no active war going on. There's no two combatants fighting each other. What you're having is a response to a terrorist attack in October the 7th. We're seeing retribution and revenge. That's what we're seeing. It's not a war. The idea is that it's a war is a lie. There's not two sides, opposing sides, battling each other on a war field. That's not what's happening. You're seeing retribution and punishment, sporadic punishment that is targeting non-combatants. This is my view on it. Also, this idea that the bombing is continuing because of hostages, I also take issue with that. There's been hostages that have been taken, for centuries. There was times we've had instances where there's been hostages. There was American hostages being held in parts of the Middle East. America didn't just bomb the hell out of the place to get the hostages back. It's never been a tactic used to get hostages out. There've been hostages taken in all over the world when it comes to these type of situations of warring countries. It's never been the tactic to just bomb the place to get the hostages back. That's never been a tactic that's used. So the idea that it's being used now tells you a couple of things. Number one, it's not about the hostages. It's about the retribution and punishment of people. And number two, they don't give a damn about the hostages also. Because the reason why it wasn't used as a tactic before is because, as the guy said, it puts the hostages at risk. That's why you didn't see people bombing each other when there's hostages around, because they knew that was a very, you're putting the hostages at risk by doing that. So yeah, I'm not buying the arguments that they're putting forward about it being a continual war, or that they're actually fighting against anything, or that they want the hostages back, or that they're doing this for the hostages to come back.
All right. I disagree, obviously. I have a simple philosophy. Don't start nothing, won't be nothing. It's a very simple philosophy. And October 7th did happen, whether people like it or not. If you're weak, and if you're weak, you shouldn't start with the strong. It's that simple. And if you're going to attack people, if you're going to kill thousands and take hundreds hostages, then expect a response. Now, you may not agree with the response. Now, you may feel some type of way about the response. That's neither here nor there. That's to do with how you feel about it. At the end of the day, if we didn't have all the cameras, if this was back hundreds of years ago, no one would even care. At the end of the day, you started that, they took over your stuff, everyone will just forget about it. It's only because we've got things like the UN, human rights, and we've got loads of cameras and social media and people watching it. This is why this type of pressure can even be applied on someone like Israel. At the end of the day, October 7th did happen. It is a war. The minute you attack another country, it is a declaration of war. Now, if you think Israel is too strong for Hamas, then what you need to be asking yourself is, why did the Hamas go down that route? Why did Hamas decided to attack someone that's far superior than them? They obviously the October the 7th, of course, is not. I don't want to bring up the past, because we decided not to discuss about what the past and so on, going back all the way to who started it, how the whole thing started. But what I am going to say is that October 7th did happen, and these guys did attack. And whenever you attack a country, it is a declaration of war. You may not like what they're doing to that country, to those people. I completely agree with you, but at the end of the day, it is a war, and all Hamas have to do in order to call their bluff, in order to see if they chatting shit, just give up the hostages, and everything will be fine. Give up the hostages. It's not as if you can fight them. If you can't fight them, why are you keeping the hostages for? All they want you to do is surrender and give up the hostages. The fact that you're not surrendering, the fact that you're not giving up the hostages, it's a further declaration of war. It's very simple. Figgy, do you want to weigh in? Mr. H.
Yeah. Israel seems to have one objective, which is kill as many people as they can, demoralize the local populace, probably to the point where they might take up a deal of leaving Israel and just going to settle somewhere else, maybe Egypt or Jordan or something like this. This is ethnic cleansing in action. They don't care about the hostages because they've actually killed hostages. And, you have hostages, Israeli Jewish hostages who are captured on October 7th, actually giving a witness to the death of their colleagues and their fellow hostages to the UN, pointing out that the Israeli government has been killing hostages as well through their bombing. So the idea that this is about the hostages, this is nonsense. This is the social media game is being used as much by Israel as it is by Hamas. They're presenting the idea that they care about the hostages and presenting the idea of these victims, these family victims, is what they're doing it for. They're not. They made it very clear when Netanyahu had the meeting with Trump and presented Trump Gaza as a possible plan to kick out the Palestinians out of their land and pretty much ethnically cleanse them. So yeah, it's
why not just give up the hostages?
I don't know.
Why not just do it? I don't get it. Why not just give up the hostages?
Well, it might be their last bargaining chip. Well, clearly, there may be a way. The longer they hold on the hostages, there may be an opportunity for them to make an exchange at some point when this is over, if Israel does decide to give up their bombing.
So how long do you reckon? Like, how many people have to die for them to say, okay, you know what? Yeah, I think 100,000 is too much. I think 200,000. I think we're taking a piss now. Because we're gambling with people's lives here. We, 50. I think it's gone over 50,000 now. The amount of people that have died. How many more Palestinians need to suffer for them to turn around and say, you know what?
Okay, but this is the issue, though.
Just give them the hostages.
So I think this is the issue here. I think, as I kind of highlighted before, hostages have always been a part of war. Second World War, there were people taken as hostages. It's never been a tactic of an army to continuously bomb the area that the hostages are being held. So that tells Hamas they don't care about these hostages. What further tells Hamas they don't care about the hostages, and actually what we should all keep in mind, is the Hannibal Directive, where Israel, to prevent people being taken hostages, their own people, will kill them. This is their own. This is not me making it up. You can just look up the Hannibal Directive. You can see that this is actually a policy that the Israeli army have. If hostages are in the middle of being taken, we can kill them because we rather they don't become hostages. So if you have a opposing, I won't call them an army, but an opposing force saying, "Oh, okay, so you guys will even kill your own people to prevent them becoming hostages," why should they feel that the same government will have any real, vetted interest in the actual hostages themselves? I actually think that Hamas are keeping the hostages to show people that the extent that Israel will go to. Because I think at some point when you're so kind of outgunned and at the brink of death, your only option really is to kind of try to expose the bully, I'm using their kind of language now. I'm not, to expose the oppressor and let them show their full teeth. Let everyone see how vicious they can be, so that they get condemned in the world the world, the public opinion of the world. And I think that could be the tactic that I'm not saying this is a good tactic, by the way. I think this is what Hamas are trying to do. They're trying to get Israel to completely show their teeth and show how far they'll go in terms of blood loss to achieve some type of objective. And it's actually kind of working, actually, to be honest, because the more Israel keeps bombing and killing innocent people, the more the world is looking at them as barbarians. So this could be actually a tactic by Hamas. And I don't agree with it because they essentially are also complicit in killing their own people. But maybe they feel this is their last straw. You can't win, so let's just show people how evil Israel are.
I reckon a better strategy, if they were really trying to get Israel to show their teeth, would be if they just complied and gave what Israel has been asking from the very beginning, and see what Israel does next. Okay, we've given you the hostages, we've surrendered. Can you please leave the Palestinian people alone? Can you please stop bombing us? Because we all know Hamas does not fight fair. We all know Hamas changed their clothes. They when the armies come through, they change the army fatigues, and then they go back to Barcelona tops again. We know that's how Hamas fights. Okay, so at the end of the day, if Hamas was really trying to get Israel to show their teeth and to show how unjust the Israel is to the entire world, to me, a better way of doing it would be to say, okay, you said release your hostages. We'll release your hostages. We surrender. Please, can we have peace now? Can you leave Gaza alone? No. What Hamas has decided to do, they have decided to allow Israel to basically turn Gaza into rubble. They might even be thinking, according to what you're saying right now, JM, they might be thinking that this is a better strategy because they themselves don't want to surrender. But at the end of the day, if you are outgunned, why are you continuing a fight that you cannot win? Why are you sacrificing more Palestinians' lives? Why? For what reason? To show what? You're outgunned. You're never going to win. What is that? To me, this is crazy. You can understand. You keep bringing up examples of World War II, and those countries had enough power to fight against other countries. It was kind of equal. This is not equal by any stretch of the imagination. Now, why would you carry on as, bro? If I'm outgunned, I'm not going to sacrifice the rest of my family, bro. Now, if it's my immediate family, someone wants to come in and kill all of them, of course I'm going to fight to the death. You see what I'm saying? I'm going to do that. But if I'm in charge of an entire country and I'm outgunned and I know they're just going to keep bombing and killing more and more people, I'm like, do you know what, guys? We're never going to win this war. Let's just come out and surrender. They're asking us to surrender and release the hostages. There you go. You've got it. That's it. Please just stop killing more people. That's not what Hamas is doing. Hamas is literally saying, yeah, keep killing them. We don't care. It's only been 50,000. We've got 2 million of them. All right. We'll probably stop when you get to 500,000. I think that's...
Well, Zelensky said the same thing. Donald Trump said to Zelensky, why don't you just give up? Why do you want to keep on fighting this fight that you cannot win? Well, he said, we can sign the agreement, but sooner or later they'll start up again and they'll just start fighting us. It's the same thing over and over again. And you said Hamas doesn't fight fair, which is true. It's very strange that because they don't fight fair. Nobody really fights fair. Israel doesn't fight fair. Israel's carpet bombing civilians. It's destroyed 92% of the buildings across the country. It's killed tens of thousands of children. It's bombed hospitals. It's bombed camps outside of hospitals. It's bombed X amount of everything you could think of. Well, some can say, oh, well, Hamas are hiding weapons. Who cares? Their weapons are useless. They have Iron Dome. They have one of the most advanced militaries in the world. They have the most advanced military right on their border on the coast, which is the U.S. military. Hamas is worthless as a fighting army. They could do nothing without Israel turning a blind eye and letting them come across the border to take hostages on October 7th and such. And even that Israel had a bit of a hand on in terms of killing the civilians that were in the various Jewish cities through the Hannibal Directive and such. So the idea that Israel is is gonna play fair. It's gonna do this. They're not. The Israeli government is barbaric when it comes to their approach to Palestinians and whether it be the West Bank or Gaza. What's the objective of Hamas? I don't know. I don't know. I know that they can't leave, but even that is a bit of an issue because the border between Egypt and Gaza was closed off because of Hamas smuggling weapons through Egypt over the decades, and then the US obviously put pressure on Egypt to close that border off, which pretty much made it an open air prison, or open air prison in the sense that there is no free movement between Gaza and anywhere else in the world. I don't know. I'm not living in that place. I'm not living in that situation. I don't know why I would do if I couldn't turn left or turn right or do anything. And if my enemy was willing to kill as many children as he could and drop more weapons and more bombs, in a couple of months than were dropped throughout the whole Second World War, so something along those lines. Consistent bombing of innocent civilians. I don't know what I would do. Because you give in, they still hold pressure because there's a great level of animosity between the Israeli state and Gaza. They really just want to squeeze them out and choke them out and pretty much push them into the ocean. And that's what they've done this campaign. They bomb the north, they tell everybody to go south, then the people go south, they bomb the south, they have a peace treaty or a ceasefire, then they break the ceasefire and keep on dropping bombs. They've dropped bombs in mosques, they drop bombs in hospitals, they drop bombs in schools, they drop bombs everywhere. So it's not. This is ethnic cleansing. Can I just so we're all on the same page? Could we confirm that this is evil? What they're doing, dropping bombs on innocent children?
Well, yeah, of course.
Can I get that from you?
No,
it's not evil. Okay.
No. I don't think there's ever been a war more publicized than this war. I would say the only other war that has been more publicized than this war, I would say, was the invasion of Iraq. War on terror. It was a show, but I don't think I don't buy this idea of Hamas. Because none of you have been able to explain why Hamas hasn't surrendered yet. Both of you have agreed with me that hold on. Yeah. Both of you have agreed with me that these guys are outgunned. They're not going to win this war, whether they like it or not. It's not going to happen ever. And none of you have actually been able to tell me what the objective is. Hassan just told me I don't know what Hamas's objective is here. So I'm thinking, save the Palestinian children and just meet the demands that they've been asking from the very beginning, which is surrender and give up the hostages. That's all they have to do. If I know there's no chance of me winning, there is no point me continuing this war. And the only reason why I say this idea of bombing innocent children, war, this is what happens in war. People get bombed and innocent people unfortunately die. Now, my only issue is I wouldn't blame I don't blame the deaths of those innocent Palestinians on Israel. I blame it on Hamas, because Hamas will not surrender, will not give up the refugees. Now, if you're saying, okay, you know what, even if they do that, nothing's going to come out of it. Israel's going to continue to bomb them and be evil towards them and all of that type of stuff. Okay, but at least let's see what happens. If that's the case, then yes, I will be like, yes, Israel is wrong for that. They should have stopped and blah, 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 blah. But I believe Israel would have stopped immediately if Hamas would have surrendered from the very beginning and would have given back the refugees. Because at the end of the day, October the 7th, even if what thing you're saying, what Hassan is saying, that Israel had a hand on it, and I don't even put that past Israel. I'm not even saying that Israel did not have a hand on it. I can see Israel having a hand on October 7th. I can completely see that. But at the end of the day, it's still those stupid Hamas guys that fell for it. Okay, they gave you a little leeway, and guess what? You couldn't help yourself but go up there and kill loads of people. All right, it's an act of war. It's war now. You fell for the trap, and now you're facing the consequences. Now they've given you another chance, and you don't want to take it. You don't want to give up the hostages. You don't want to surrender as if you've got any chance in the bloody world of winning the war. It's like, bro, now you're gonna have to face the consequences. But the problem is, it's the people that are facing the consequences. That's my issue with it. And I'm wondering, why aren't the Palestinians turning on Hamas? They should be turning on Hamas and saying, listen, stop this, because you can't win it. And you're just sacrificing our lives.
JM, did you want to go?
Yeah, I just want to ask a quick question, Nelson, because Nelson spoke about the war. There's a war going on. So let's go back to October 7th, which I'm sure Nelson would call evil, what they did there.
October
Nelson,
7th?
that's evil. That was evil.
Oh, October 7th. Yes. An unprovoked attack on innocent civilians.
Okay, so this is the question. So why do you think Hamas did that?
Why did I think Hamas did that?
Why do you think what do you think their reason is for doing it?
Oh, they say it on their charters. They believe that the land belongs to them. They believe that the Zionists are evil. They quote their scriptures. They want Israel. They think Israel belongs to them. They say it on their charter over and over and over again, both charters. If you read through it, they tell you exactly. One thing I love about Hamas, they're very, very, very open about their intentions on their charters. They're very clear about that.
So you think the only reason they attacked Israel is because you think they think that the land belongs to them? That's the only reason why they did it.
Oh yes, I do believe it. Yeah. It's the only reason why they.
But that wouldn't make sense. That wouldn't make sense, because if that was the case, you would have Hamas committing, trying to literally force all Israelis out of Gaza. If that was the case.
Well, they can't do that because they don't have the power.
So the reason why they would attack Israel is, you don't think that there's a sense of retribution there at all?
Yeah, but then again, if we're going to be talking about retribution, then we're going to have to start going beyond before October 7th. And
but you do acknowledge that for them, I'm not saying I'm not asking to agree with it, but you do acknowledge that for them there's a sense of retribution also.
For them, there's a sense of retribution. In what sense?
Yeah.
In the sense of what?
They're seeing their own fellow Palestinians being mistreated, killed, etc., murdered, and out of the sense of that injustice, they are also attacking the people they can see as their oppressors. You don't think that that's part of why they would do that?
No,
again, I'm not justifying it.
I don't see the sense of retribution, because if we look at their argument, which would mean looking at what happened before October 7th, you're going to see that the main aggressors have been them. Because, I mean, these guys have been trying to get rid of Israel from that region for a very, very long time. And again, I didn't want to go beyond October 7th, but the question that you're asking involves looking at what happened before October 7th. And when we look at the facts, when we look at all the Balfour Declaration, when you look at the Abrahamic Accords, when you look at all of that type of stuff, you're going to see all the attempts that Britain made in order to establish some kind of peace between both. And I'm not saying Israel has always been perfect on that front, but I mean, after that, you can make up your own mind as to who's been the real aggressor. Even after 2005, when Israel decided to pull out of Gaza, and these guys continue to launch missiles, bro. You think this is going to stop? No, they think that region belongs to them. They think that land belongs to them, which it doesn't. And they'll continue to fight. Ain't got nothing to do with we are being oppressed and all of that type of stuff. That's BS. These guys don't care. They want that region. They want that land. They think it belongs to them, and it doesn't.
So this is just your interpretation of what you think is the reason. Because I can show you evidence of them literally. There's actual things that have happened in terms of atrocities that they say have been committed against their people, which has justified their behavior. So
like October 7th. You think October 7th was justified then?
No. I'm saying that. No, I'm saying You're trying to suggest that the only reason why they committed October 7th is this idea that they want the land. And I'm saying to you, by their own words and by what I've read in terms of their justification for not only October 7th, but other acts of violence, is not just about obtaining the land, it's also a retribution for atrocities that have been committed against their own people. That's also a reason. And I can justify that because there's actually been people highlighting specific events that happened before October 7th that led up to them accelerating this attack against Israel. There's actually things that have happened. No, there's things that have happened. No, hold on. The thing that they say have happened and have been documented, atrocities that have happened to Palestinians that have provoked them also to commit this act on October 7th. It has not just always been about, oh, we want to take over the land, we're going to commit atrocities. They literally would tell you and highlight the fact that, hold on, we're doing this because we've seen and felt atrocities being committed against us. So my thing is this, my whole point is this. If we're saying that it's okay for Israel and it's not evil for Israel to commit retribution by dropping bombs on babies, if we're saying that's not evil, then the same argument can be made to Hamas. They're not evil if they believe they're acting in retribution too by killing Israelis. This is the whole point. This is the point I'm making.
So you're saying
can't have it both ways.
So you say okay. So you're saying October 7th was justified, basically.
No, I'm saying that if we're saying that retribution, because I asked you specifically, is this retribution? You agree that it's retribution. Israel are committing retribution against people they consider to be their enemy. That's what they're doing. That's why you said the dropping of bombs is not evil because it's retribution.
I called it war. I never called it retribution.
Okay, but right again. So again, if we're going to go with war, then if Hamas also believe that they're in a war, if that's what they believe that they're in a war, and they do believe, we know that they do also believe that they're in a war. They believe that there's an active combatant that are actively killing their own people. Then we can possibly use the same argument and say, well, what they did wasn't also evil. Because they also are acting. You see my point?
I'm willing to go along with your point. But the thing is, but the thing is, this would logically follow that if we're gonna take this to its logical conclusion, then why are we having the talk? They're fighting. Why are people worried about what happens? Okay, you're saying on both sides there's been unprovoked attacks. If that's the case, all right, they fight in a war. Let the best nation win. Why is everyone worried about it? If both sides are guilty of unprovoked attacks, all right. If hold on. If that is the case, then the whole world needs to stop moaning. It's a war, and let the war conclude itself. Don't put pressure on Israel. Don't say Israel is this, Israel is that. Don't get involved. Just there's nothing to discuss here. It's a war. Let that happen.
So I tell you, before I let Hassan come in, I'll tell you why people have an issue. Some people have an issue, not everyone, obviously. Because of the disparity between the combatants in terms of not only number, but in terms of military weaponry. The fact that you have a small terrorist group in war, not only against a nation state, but a nation state that's backed by the most powerful nation states in the world, who they obtain weaponry from, intelligence, weaponry, etc., etc. That is potentially why people have an issue. And also, if you look at the disproportionate amount of killing on each side, when you have the fact that they openly say, for every one Israeli that's killed, we're justified in killing 10, 20, and this is their own word. This is not my view. This is the Israeli leadership say this, that for every one Israeli killed is the equivalent of 20 Palestinians. So this is the issue. You can't look at it as two equal combatants when that type of language is being used. We were seeing the disproportionate amount of death and killing that's going on. And the fact that you have people that have complete control over the landmass of the people that they're so-called fighting against. It's not an equal war. This is not by no means an equal war. This is a very unequal war. To the point
Go
where
ahead.
it's very difficult to even call it a war. Go ahead, Hassan.
Yeah, I agree with everything JM said in terms of this is not equal and such. It's just a slaughter. And it's obvious. You literally see it on Twitter every day. Twitter being a better source than most. So I asked you, is it evil? JM said it is evil. You said it's not evil to kill innocent men, women, and children?
No.
So
To kill innocent. If you're gonna ask me a question, which is it evil to kill innocent men and children? Yes, it is.
Oh, but you said no before.
Yeah, I said no because you said it in the context of Israel attacking Palestinians.
Oh, that's what I meant.
Oh, well, okay. Thank you for clarifying that. No, because it's a war. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So it is acceptable to kill innocent men, women, and children in war.
No, it's not acceptable.
So
No,
it's
it's a reality of war. It's not acceptable when it's done intentionally, but it is a reality of war. Innocent men, women, and children die in war. This is just something that happens in war. It's a reality.
Well, reality is what happens. The moral justification is what I'm really looking for, because it is a reality that young men, young boys are sexually molested. That is a reality. But I can still apply a moral judgment on it and say, this is immoral. This is evil thing to do. I wouldn't say to a child that was sexually molested and say, hey, yeah, it happens. This is life. This is reality. I'd say this is wrong. And the person who did this needs to come to justice and be punished. So with that in mind, is Israel evil for dropping bombs on innocent men, women, and children?
No, because Israel would have stopped bombing innocent men, women, and children if Hamas fought fair, if Hamas adhered to their demands from the very beginning, it would have stopped. So it's not evil. No.
So every bomb that they've dropped on innocent men, women, and children is morally justified so far.
No, you'd have to prove intentionality.
Okay, so so the president says we're gonna go to war with Israel, go to war with Hamas. The fighter pilot is given the orders. The bomb is loaded up on the jet fighter. The jet fighter is fueled, goes up into the air, flies across Gaza, drops the bomb. Because I don't think it's by accident these bombs are dropping. I think it's intentional. I think that's how modern warfare is done. I think all warfare is done intentionally. Nobody accidentally drops 2,000-pound bombs, hundreds of 2,000-pound bombs on civilian areas. It's the military is very precise. Nothing is done accidentally. The majority of it is intentional. So with that in mind, is Israel evil for dropping bombs on innocent men and women, children?
No, because at the end of the day, you are fighting a force which hides, which does not fight fair, which hides in hospitals, which hides in schools. These are, and they have to rely on. This is what I'm saying. You have to prove intentionality. You have to prove that the intention when they launched that bomb, when they dropped that bomb, when they attacked, you have to prove that the intention there was to kill civilians and not not that they were trying to, due to intel, trying to target Hamas's whereabouts, because we are not talking about a force here that basically are in fatigues and are fighting, and then they can see the difference between a civilian and someone in fatigues. That's not the kind of force that they're fighting. They're fighting people that hide behind hospitals. Because if we are going to take, let me just say this, if we are going to go along with what you're saying, given how Hamas fights wars, then Israel would have to immediately stop all bombing. They would have to immediately stop. Immediately, they would have to stop. And if Israel was attacked again, let's say some soldiers were killed in Gaza, okay, they wouldn't be able to respond, because guess what? If they do respond, that guy has already changed his clothes. He's already walking like a civilian. So it would be a situation where basically there is nothing that Israel can do, and Israel would have to basically come out completely out of Gaza. So it would be an impossible war to win. This is why I can't go along with what you're saying.
So
Can I just make this quick point, because I don't want to go on from the hospital thing, because you made a good point about the hospital, and that's something I've never understood, how anyone can justify that. The idea that your people think it's justifiable because criminals are hiding in a hospital, that it's justifiable to bomb the hospital, killing more innocent people than the actually targeted group of people that you want. How anyone can see that that's justifiable, I've never understood. And put it in any other context, anywhere in the world, where a group of criminals are hiding out in a hospital, and the authorities think it's justifiable to bomb the hospital with patients and nurses and doctors in it, sacrificing those people, clearly innocent people, to kill compared to the amount of people that are in the hospital, a small group of men who are criminals. I want you to try to extrapolate that type of thinking anywhere else in the world, and tell me if people think that was a justifiable way of conducting yourself. That wouldn't be accepted anywhere else in the world. Everybody would say that's madness, that's barbaric, that's evil to do that. That's what it would be said anywhere else. The only place it seems to be okay, well, for some people, is in Gaza. This type of way of combating people would not be acceptable anywhere else in the world, where you're justifying to kill doctors, nurses, patients, to kill a group of men that are hiding in the hospital. I've never understood that philosophy behind it.
I think the justification is that these are Muslims dying. Because
Right.
Sorry, I just wanted to just respond to him, and then you can respond, if that's okay. I'm
trying to remember what he said before, and I don't want to forget nothing that
I'm sure he'll repeat it, because he made a very clear point. If, let's say, a person walks into a concert or a hospital or a school or anywhere in Europe, and then blow themselves up and kills X amount of innocent civilians, people say, oh, this is a terrorist. This is what they're like. This is evil. This is wrong. This is a threat to our civilized society. But if it's done to the people of Gaza, well, these people who are by the majority under the age of 18, by the majority weren't even born when the Hamas first came into power, have nothing to do with what's going on. It's fair for them to be collateral damage. It's fair for them to die, because on a basic level, they're Muslims. So therefore, this is maybe some war between Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, and so blah blah blah. Whatever branding or mental gymnastics people can come out with to justify the murder of innocent men, women, and children. But the double standard is, we can look at somebody who supports ISIS and say they're evil. Like, they're foolish. Well, they're evil, really. If they know what they're doing, they're evil. You're supporting people who are murdering innocents. But to support Israel, who's doing the same thing, and say it's justified, they're good, and so on and so forth, they're good to kill innocent civilians, and not call themselves supporters of terrorism, that's the strange double standard. And this is human nature. Cognitive dissonance is plentiful. Moral double standards are plentiful, and it's a shame, because it doesn't benefit the individual and doesn't benefit society. But that's my perception.
All right, now that we passed the insults and the personal attacks, okay, cool. Now let's do.
Who said it was about you?
Hold on. Let's deal with objective reality and objective truth here. If I was to take what you guys are proposing, realistically, then that means Israel can never attack Hamas, because Hamas is a force that you don't see. They come out in fatigues when there's cameras on, and as soon as the cameras go off, guess what? they are back in the Real Madrid tops. So Hamas is basically what you're saying. After October 7th, because of how Hamas fights, Israel shouldn't have done anything. Why? Because guess what? We don't know where Hamas is. Even okay, they're hiding behind the hospital. We can't attack that hospital, guys. Why? Because there's loads of innocent people there. Oh, they're hiding behind the school. Okay, as long as they're hiding behind the school, we can't do nothing. So guess what? We can't actually fight them. We can't actually go against them. We can't actually do anything. So all we're gonna do is we're gonna allow October 7th to happen again and again and again and again and again and again. Because every time we try to attack them, guess what this army does? They change their fatigues and they go back to Real Madrid tops. So basically, this is what you guys are suggesting. You guys are suggesting the October 7th to be repeated over and over and over and over again, and for Israel basically to never respond. Why? Because because Hamas will always do the same thing. Guess what, guys? We are weaker. So guess what we're gonna do? We're just gonna change our clothes. We're gonna hide behind those. I think the person who hides behind, you have to look at the moral integrity of a group of people who call themselves soldiers but hide behind innocent people. None of you have questioned their moral integrity, which is sickening. It is absolutely sickening for you to start a war against a country. Make no mistake, if you go into another country and then you slaughter 1,200 or whatever it is, that is a declaration of war. If you're going to do that and you don't have the courage to say, we started this and we're going to fight until the end, and we're going to make sure we are in army fatigue, so to protect our own civilians, okay? Because we want to have a war with them. I would have more respect for Hamas if they killed 1,200 people and they were out there with army fatigues, identifiable to the Israeli army. To me, that's honorable, because at the end of the day, whether I agree or disagree with their reasons, do you know what? They decided to fight the warfare. But for you to go out, kill all those people, and then hide behind innocent children, hide behind teachers, and none of you two question that level of integrity, that is worrying. That is very worrying, because the logical conclusion of what you guys are proposing would mean Israel, given how Hamas fights, would basically mean Israel can never attack. They can never confront these people who hate them, who have stated that they hate them, that they want their land and they want them decimated. So at the end of the day, you know what? I completely disagree with what you guys are saying, and I'm still trying to remember what JM said earlier.
I think the best, one of the ways that we can kind of bring it home, and sometimes is to bring it to. Okay, so I could bring up a couple of scenarios here to try to kind of paint exactly what's happening. And first of all, I do think,
Jim, because you said something about criminals, you compare them to just a bunch of criminals hiding in the hospital or something like that. And
yeah, they are. If you're a murderer, you're a criminal.
Hold on. Hamas doesn't consider themselves as criminals. They consider themselves to be.
I am calling them criminals.
No, that's fine. I understand that.
I'm saying that if we're calling them criminals, because if the consensus is that they're criminals. I have no vested interest in defending Hamas. So I don't mind if we're going to call them criminals, terrorists, whatever you want to call them.
The thing is, they were democratically elected. These people are not criminals. They're in charge.
That's not the point, though. I'm making.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm just saying the facts are that they've been elected into power. These people are in charge of the country. They are not some little criminals that are out there trying to rob people and all of that. This is a real.
Well, they're the military. They're the military wing of a political parties. I think we need to make it clear. The same people that went and killed those people in Israel are not Hamas politicians that were elected into government. They're the military wing of a political party. So we have that distinction never gets made. Also, there's a military wing of a political party, but also one thing that is interesting is this idea that we don't know where they are. We know where the tunnels are, And so why don't is Israel target the tunnels where they claim that they all are? There's these massive tunnels that they've built. That seems to me would be the first place I would go. Is we need to invade these tunnels. We need to get into these tunnels and flush them out. That would make much more sense to me. And I think the idea that okay, I agree with Nelson that if you're literally hiding behind the school, knowing that it's going to be targeted by evil people, to me that there is a question. I do question your sense of morality by doing that. Because if you're saying that these people are evil, and these people have no qualms about bombing children to death, if you know that they'll do that, then you need to move away from those kids. So I hear that. I absolutely hear that point what Nelson was making. It still doesn't justify the behavior, though. I mean, just because I agree with the fact that they should stay away from kids and innocent people, it doesn't take away, it doesn't justify the fact that Israel are still doing it. Because as I said, this is not something that we would do anywhere else in the world. We wouldn't say, okay, there's people in the school that we need to get our hands on. So they just bomb the school with the kids in, the teachers in it.
What would you do if you were Israel? What would you do if you were Israel?
I told you I would attack the tunnels.
Okay.
Do
you think?
I would storm. Hold on a second. I would storm. See, my thing is this. I don't understand this kind of issue with land operations. To me, that makes much more sense. Land operations. Flood the place with soldiers. Flood the place with. You have more soldiers than they have, than the whole population of Gaza. Flood the place with soldiers on foot and storm these places. Yes, innocent people would be killed, but just randomly dropping bombs on people, that is evil to me. Because if you see, let me tell you something. If you see a group of soldiers running towards you, and you're in a hospital, at least you got a chance to run off. You have a chance to run off,
bro.
But if you're in a hospital and bombs are just randomly falling on you, how are these people supposed to escape that?
Yeah, can I ask you a question, bro?
It's not too random.
Okay, let's say. Remember the type of army that we fight in here. They don't fight fair. They change back to civilian clothing and they act normal. You send a bunch of. Just imagine yourself as a general. Okay, you're in charge of military operations. You decide, okay, I'm going to send the army. We don't want to bomb. We want to save all these innocent people. We're going to send the army in. All right. Okay. And all right, they start going in, and then they find themselves. Okay, they're looking for them. They can't see anyone. They can't see, and then all of a sudden, bullet. Okay, all of a sudden people are spraying bullets, but we can't.
You fire towards those people.
Hold on a second, bro. Okay, and then we see that it's coming from this area, so we start firing because remember, everyone is dressed in civilian clothes, so we start firing and a bunch of people get killed, and they all have civilian clothes. The news will report, oh, they just killed a bunch of civilians. Now I've just lost, as a general, you just lost a bunch of soldiers, because guess what, they were fired upon by people that basically look like civilians, so you don't know who's who. Bro, do you think first of all, do you think that's a good strategy as a general? Because the amount of soldiers that you would lose because everyone is dressed as civilians. Now, let me ask you, you're saying the tunnels, you keep bringing up the tunnels as if the tunnels, this is nowhere. Do you really think that Hamas hides in the tunnels? The tunnels were built for different purposes. It's not there's a reason why they hide.
Built for?
Hold on a second. The transporting weapons, for many other reasons of that nature. But the thing is,
are down there then.
Hold on a second. Do you really think that Hamas is hiding in the tunnels? Hamas is hiding where they are less likely to attack. Where they Israel, I'm sure, has good intel about the tunnels, and so on. But Hamas would be stupid. The way they fight, they'll be stupid to basically hang around in the tunnels, because that would be the first place they're going to go to. Second, the best place for them, if that's how they fight, is to hide in schools, is to hide where the normal people is. That's their best. That's the best
So
way
let
of
me
doing it.
so let me tell you how it would let me tell you how it would be better for Israel in terms of public opinion.
Yeah.
If they airdrop 200 soldiers in front of us, so let's say for example they suspect there's a Hamas hiding in the hospital,
Mhm.
and they airdrop 500 soldiers around the hospital. They airdrop them. The soldiers start advancing on the hospital. They don't, you know, if they're fired upon, okay, and they proceed to fire back towards the where the fire is coming from, where the shooting is coming from. In the word of public opinion, that's much more palatable for them people to say, well, okay, they tried to storm the hospital to commandeer these people, and they were fired upon, and they fought back. Given it, because as I said, if people are advancing on a hospital or a school, or let's say a school or a refugee camp, it gives people the opportunity to get the hell out of there. Okay, and another thing too, if you have the ability to completely commandeer an area, you can secure women and children too. You can say, "Hey, women and children, come out here. We're going to give you a pass. If everybody tries to shoot you, we're going to fire on them." There's no attempt to even limit the casualties of women and children. There's been no attempt for them to even show any kind
How
of
many soldiers do you think you use?
grace
But I-
intent. Bro, but hold on. This is as you just highlighted. This is a war, and you have to have some. There has to be some decency in war, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
decency.
Yeah, like where if
If decency comes with some casualties. That's part of. As I said, this is anything to me is better than killing women and children.
okay, so
If you're
would you demand Hamas to wear army fatigues instead of wearing civilian clothes so that they can
But the
identify?
point is, if you're advancing on people, if you're advancing on a group of people, they're gonna fire on you, even in the Barcelona tops, because they got weaponry on them.
Yeah,
They have to
so
have weaponry
basically
on them. If
decency.
they're Hamas, regardless of what they're wearing, if they
They're
come
gonna fire.
backwards, they could have weapons. So you target those guys. You don't target the women and the children. You target where the men are, because the men are more likely to have the weaponry. And you target. They're gonna fire on you at some point. So that's where you aim your fire at.
Bro, I'm sorry, but that
Indiscriminately dropping bombs on unsuspecting women and children and patients and refugees and babies and kids in school. I'm afraid there's no justification for that.
the only
Even if you happen to
way.
kill a couple of hostages in the explosion, there's no justification. But then, if you listen to the
No, that's
mentality of
wrong,
the
bro. That's
Israelis, no, bro, let me finish my point. If you listen to the mentality of the Israelis and the fact that they consider Palestinians as second-class citizens and scum and goyim or whatever stupid word that these imposters use, or what's the Amarath and stupid biblical terms, etc. If you consider that, then it makes sense why they think it's okay to just drop bombs and on kids, because they don't consider them to be human. Now, this is their fault. If they were better at controlling themselves and their hatred for Muslims, 'cause that's what it is, particularly Palestinian Muslims, if they were able to control that with the rhetoric they use, people would understand more about why they're so indiscriminate in their killing. But if you're indiscriminate in killing and your rhetoric shows that you view the people as less than human beings, then you're literally exposing your evilness to the world, and that's what people can see.
So can I jump in at some point?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Or do you want to respond, Doctor?
Yeah, I was just going to basically say that Jem, yeah, you didn't prove that going in, sending the army, the ground forces, into Gaza is a better plan than actually bombing it. Basically, loads of soldiers would die because, again, you guys are not taking into consideration the way Hamas fights. And to me, if you're going to demand Israel to be decent, I would assume that you would do the same for Hamas. Be decent and wear army fatigues. It's the fair thing to do because You know, in war, you have to be somehow decent, and these people are not decent at all. Like we've discussed, they don't mind hiding behind innocent people, and having them killed. They don't mind doing any of that, which none of you. I think JM tried to question that morality, and it is very, very immoral to hide behind innocent people. You would lose loads
I
of
don't
soldiers.
agree with that.
Hold on a second. You would lose loads of soldiers if you to send the ground. If you send the forces on the ground, you would lose loads of soldiers. First, you wouldn't be able to tell where the shots were coming from. It could be coming from everywhere. You could have basically, if the standard was you cannot shoot at civilians. You cannot shoot at civilians, and you're fighting against a force that wear civilian outfits. You're basically, what you're doing is you're basically condemning the entire army that goes on the ground to death. All right, that's what you're doing, because you won't know where the shots are coming from, because they could be coming from everywhere. They can set traps, they can do all of that. If the army goes in with the mentality of we can't shoot because that's a civilian, we can't shoot, and yet they don't know who a civilian is and who is not, because that person might shoot, and then another one on the other side might shoot, then another one on the other side might shoot. The casualties would be amazing. So you haven't been able to convince me that that's a better strategy or a more moral strategy than actually bombing. And when it comes to bombing, Israel does send leaflets to tell them that we're about to bomb this in 45 minutes, evacuate. So at the end of the day, what I would say is a better way would be for Hamas to fight fair by, first of all, not hide behind children, because that's very immoral. Wear army fatigues so you are identifiable. I am sure if they were wearing army fatigues, then Israel would have taken the fight to them. Okay, I know modern warfare, usually they try to not basically sacrifice a lot of their army by basically bombing the entire area first before they actually send the troops on the ground. I know that's how modern warfare goes, but the thing is, if Hamas wore army fatigues, they would be identifiable, and it would actually help the level of civilians, the casualties. So at the end of the day, the moral thing to me, it would seem that Hamas has to what do you call it? They have
Whenever
to
you're ready, bro. Whenever you're ready.
Being rude again. Hamas has to wear army fatigues and stop hiding behind innocent civilians. I think that is more immoral than basically try to suggest that Israel shouldn't attack them, because guess what? We don't know where you don't know if they, if they're hiding behind thingy or not, So according to you guys, the logical
question.
Hold on a second. The logical, if I was to take it to its full logical conclusion, Israel can't attack them, regardless of what they do. They can't attack them. They can't attack them because guess what? They're all wearing civilian clothes.
So you think it's more immoral to hide behind a school than to bomb the school? You think it's more immoral to hide behind the school than to bomb and kill kids in the school? You think it's more immoral to hide behind?
I think it's more immoral for a human being to hide behind innocent civilians, knowing that these innocent
civilians die. To kill them. No. So you're saying it's more immoral to hide behind civilians than to kill civilians. That's what you're saying.
Say that again. Say that. That doesn't make sense.
You're saying it's more immoral to hide behind a civilian than to kill a civilian.
Than to kill a civilian.
Yeah, so a guy has, let's say a guy has a gun. Yeah. So
civilians gonna end up dead anyway.
No, they don't. No, they don't.
Yes, they're gonna end up dead.
Why would they end up dead?
Because they're attacking you, and you're hiding behind an innocent civilian. You're supposed to be a soldier. They're going to die anyway.
Okay, so let's
say
they're
not attacking you. They're not attacking behind the school. They're hiding there.
Yeah, they're hiding there. So this is what I'm trying to say. So what should Israel do? Do nothing?
Okay, so I just want to.
It's okay to kill the kids. Then you're saying basically it's okay to kill the kids.
No.
You already said that.
Listen to what you guys are saying. as long as I'm hiding behind a civilian, let's say I commit a crime, all I need to do is go behind a child, and
Okay,
and I get away
we
with the crime.
established that, Delson. So I want you to be clear and say it's because if they're hiding behind children,
Kill the kids.
Just say that. Say that. I want you to say it. If it's okay, if you're hiding behind children, it's okay to kill the children. I want you to say those words.
But if they're hiding behind civil, it's if they're hiding
it's okay
behind
to kill the children.
I'm not like you guys. I don't lie. I don't mince my words. If they're hiding behind the hospital where there's innocent children and all of that, yes,
Bomb the
it's okay.
hospital.
Yes, if they are at war, yes, it's okay to bomb that hospital. Yes.
Okay, yeah, cool. You already said that in the beginning. To be fair, so you've been going on for so long. I forgot my point in the question. Oh yeah, there's one point I wanted to make.
Yeah, that happened to me earlier as well.
Yeah, it's but we're all talking, so I guess it's we're getting off.
Bro, you started it. You started it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's kind of true. What was I saying?
Anyway, let's move on. They forgot his point.
No. Here's the point I wanted to make.
Oh, you remembered it now.
Yeah.
Remember, there was a tactic
remember
back in the day.
point.
Talk to let the person forget their point.
It's the second point that's leaving my mind, but I know the first point. So the first point is you insinuated that JM and I think JM wanted to explain that it's not the case for him, have some sort of sympathy for Hamas or gives Hamas some moral justification for what they've done.
I did not insinuate. I said you guys like Hamas. You think that they're doing the moral thing.
Okay,
no.
I didn't insinuate.
That's so not true.
I don't know why you guys keep thinking I'm insinuating anything. I'm not like you guys. I don't play with words.
No, I don't. I'm not a Hamas supporter. I'm trying to get invested in prison or something. Listen, the people watching this. And make it clear to the people watching, I am not a Hamas supporter.
Bro, you can't say it's immoral what they do and it's not immoral what they do.
No. I said that.
Come on, guys. Now,
okay. Hamas. Sorry. Yes, I don't.
No. It's because you've made it very clear before. He's just playing with you, I think.
Yeah.
I think what Hamas has done is immoral. Whether it be October 7th, whether it be their method of fighting resistance or fighting for resistance or whatever it is. I do not support Hamas, whether it be the political wing or the military wing. I don't support anything they've done. I don't support the idea that they hide or whatever. I mean, Israel's saying they hide, but I think it's fair to say that they're hiding in these places and such, hiding weapons and whatever.
Yes.
Right. So you hear that, Octavio, right? So you can't bring that up again that I'm
suggesting. No, because you brought up Israel instead of you just talking about him.
This is the point, though. This is the point I'm making, though. There can be two evil people in a situation. The one hiding behind a child could be evil. The one shooting the child can also be evil. And that's my issue with your position. Israel, when it murders children, is justified in what they're doing. Now, of course, there is some conspiracy theory that this is apparently God said you can murder innocent men, women, and children, although he's never said it to any other race of people throughout history. He hasn't said it to Christians, he hasn't said it to the Muslims, he hadn't said it to the people of Noah, the people of Abraham, whatever, right? He never told them you could murder innocent.
How do you guys bring religion into this?
Well, that's usually the justification for Israel's murder of children. The second point, sorry, I just wanted to finish my point. Before I forget. The second point I want to make, I've spoken to an IDF soldier. I've had the chance. I've told him directly, why are you dropping bombs on children? Oh, well, we drop, we give a warning before we drop a bomb in the building. That's not the case in this war. That's not the case. In this war, they're actually just dropping bombs. There's no warning. There's no leaflets. There's nothing. It's just drop bomb, done. Because you'd think the idea that people would stay in a hospital while a bomb is about to be dropped and say, you know what, we're going to die and allow ourselves to be killed. This is nonsense. This is a fantasy. That's one. Two, because you can literally see after the bomb explodes that they're all grieving and crying and burying their dead and screaming. They're going to they know what's going on. They're not gonna. If they know their bombs are gonna be, their bodies are gonna be split into pieces, and their mothers and fathers, they're not gonna say that, right? So that's nonsense. It's not the case in this war. They did do it in the previous conflicts. It's true. They did target particular buildings, and they would have a knocker. This is a small explosion on a building above the building, I think about 5 minutes or 20 minutes before they drop an actual bomb, allowing people to leave. But they don't do that anymore. This current conflict is full on massacre. I'm forgetting my point. Forget my point. Oh, God, I forgot my point, man.
Let me keep talking so you remember.
What was?
I got a few.
Oh God, I forgot my point.
I'll keep talking. You remember quickly.
Oh, yeah, go ahead, guys.
Yeah, I knew you'd forget your point because you're not making it now. It's very,
Oh,
very.
yes.
Oh, there you go.
I spoke to the Israeli soldier. I said to him, "Well, why didn't you go on a ground offensive if you really want to fight Hamas?" And he said what Octavio said. He said this would be Gaza is heavily populated, a small dense area, and that if we go in, there'll be high casualties. And this is true. I agree. There'll be high casualties. But this gives it's logical. It's a logical point. This is the problem, though. I told him, okay, so you're willing to sacrifice innocent children to protect your soldiers? He said yes. Now, this is where I find it frustrating not to condemn Israel and their actions. The point of people who are making who are justifying Israel's bombing of places, as opposed to sacrificing soldiers, going in and making those decisions and having the training and having the weapons to discern who's a 4-year-old child and who's a 30-year-old man with a gun. Because to me, that's usually quite obvious. A guy with a gun who's in their 30s and a 4-year-old who I've seen repeatedly, kids who are 4 years old, 5 years old, with their heads blown up and their faces split into two, and their mother's here and their father's there, and in many different pieces because somebody decided to drop a bomb on the building. And the idea that that's a better outcome than a soldier actually being a soldier, now that's cowardly, that's spineless. That they Hamas and the IDF, they're both as weak as each other.
And this is the thing, as I say,
Israel is actually wearing fatigues. Israel is actually, yeah. Go ahead.
Now I was going to say this too, and this is the key. This is a very key point as well. I'm going to bring up here because, I think Nelson has been trying to justify some of the actions of Israel by saying it's a war, etc. But I'm going to read to you, and this is why, unfortunately, Nelson, when they do these acts of bombing indiscriminately, this is always going to hang over their heads in terms of what their real intent is. And are they acting in almost even good, how you could act in good faith by killing innocent people. But when you have the Israeli Deputy Defense Minister say, I'm quoting him now, Palestinians are beasts, they are not human. If you want the name and put the quote here, I can put it up. The name, the person, the time it said, Palestinians are beasts, they are not human. So if you have the leadership of Israel who consider Palestinians to be unhuman, can you not see that that would cause concern when we see thousands and thousands of children indiscriminately bombed? Can you not see how that would tinge your argument, Nelson, in terms of they do what they can and they send leaflets, and if it was up to them, there wouldn't be anyone, no non-combatants killed. Can you see how that causes a bit of issue with your kind of idea that these are people actually in good faith with these type of remarks? And there's more of them, by the way. I could pick up more.
No. And the reason why because you'd have to identify who the aggressor is. And if I think these people have been the aggressor, let's say I'm Israel, whether you believe this to be the case or not, it's neither here nor there. That's a discussion for the 13th when we get in depth into what happened in the past. The reason why it's no is because if these people have been the aggressors for a long time, if these people are saying in their charter they want to wipe us out, if these people are saying that the end of time will not come until every Jew is dead, if that's the animosity that these people have towards us, if they want to wipe us off completely out of the planet, yes, I can see why someone would consider. But by the way, these people are not Christian. By the way, these guys, I can see why a normal human being would call them those names, because as far as they're concerned, you are the aggressor. You hate us. You want to wipe us out of wipe us out of the planet. And yeah, I'm not going to see you in a good light if that is how you feel about us.
Okay, but you acknowledge. So what you're acknowledging there is two evils. Yes.
No.
So if you have rhetoric coming from the Israeli leadership comparing Palestinians to being beasts and not human, you don't consider that an evil statement.
As a Christian, knowing that human beings are made in the image of God, I would consider that to be an evil statement. But if I cannot come from a Christian perspective here, because at the end of the day, Jews are not Christians, or the Jews that are in Israel. They have their own morality, so to speak. They have a religion that still doesn't have a Messiah, still hasn't been fulfilled by the Messiah. So they believe in an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So coming from where they coming from, no, they don't look at that. Like, again, you have to identify who the aggressor is. You're saying two evils.
No, so you kind of drifted over that.
No, I don't. But you guys keep bringing up religion all the time. I don't believe.
No, I didn't make a religious argument.
I don't believe. You guys keep bringing up.
I didn't make a religious argument. I said I'm asking you specifically. If a human being believes that his fellow human being is a beast and not a human being, is that not an evil way of considering a human? Forget the religious aspect.
I've already answered it. Hold on. If I'm working with a Christian morality, yes. But if you're working with the Islamic and Judaic thingy, no.
Okay, so Judaism, but that's not in Judaism. Does Judaism teach that Palestinians are beasts?
Sorry?
Does Judaism teach that Palestinians are beasts?
Do Judaism teach that Palestinians are beasts?
Palestinians are not human beings.
In those literal words, are you saying, can we find a line in the Bible that says,
no, but have you ever had, so the reason why I'm not accepting this is a religious thing, because there's Jews out there that would condemn that statement, and they're Jews.
I just condemn. No, that's fine.
Right,
that's fine.
That's what I'm saying. But you said that it's a religiously. It's
I think what Octavio is doing is he's. I think, to be fair, you're playing fast and loose. You're trying to justify it. You're saying from my perspective it's wrong, but from their perspective it's right. So therefore, there's some justification.
It's not from their perspective, but from their perspective, it's not right, because other Jews will condemn and have condemned that statement.
I think Octavio is reaching to find a justification. It's either right or wrong. It's simple.
Listen, no, that's not the case at all. I think that if we're going to talk about people's different opinions, then we're going to be here all day, because everyone's going to have.
We're just talking about one.
I'm not here to talk about different opinions. I'm talking about, for example, they believe in an eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. So if you're the aggressor, they believe you took my eye, I'm going to take your eye. You took my tooth, I'm going to take your tooth. And if we're going to talk about using vulgar language in order to talk about their enemy, to me, that's I don't know where you're going with this idea, because at the end of the day, you hold on. You need to contend with the fact that Hamas does have in a charter that every Jew must die.
No, they don't.
Okay. Right. Okay. So this is my point, Nelson. Now, you're very quick to condemn Muslims, or particularly this Hamas group, for saying that every Muslim should die. Or
I don't think I've done that already. I don't think I've done that so far.
You said that you're saying that
Hamas are evil. The Hamas are responsible for the deaths.
Yeah, it's evil to consider that. But my thing is this:
October the 7th was committed by Hamas. Yes.
And it was
all the bombs are being dropped by Israel.
Because they are in a war. Yeah.
But this is my point. We can't just turn around and say, "Oh, that's just one." Hold on, we can't just turn around and say, "That's just one comment." So who cares? That means you didn't listen to who said it. It's not about it's one comment. Who cares? Like, this is coming from people who are actively murdering people. So the people that are murdering people are considering the people they're murdering not to be human beings. That's
I don't think
significant, Nelson.
murdering people.
That's significant. That means a lot.
I don't think they're murdering people.
It means a lot. Oh, no,
I don't
no.
think they're murdering
Okay.
people.
The people that are dying at their hands, I used to use that there because you can't deny that part. The people that are dying at their
Oh,
hands,
you watch him
kids,
deny it.
the kids and women that are dying at their hands, they consider to be not human beings. That's
Yes.
significant, Nelson. That means
Hold on.
something. That is
Okay, yes.
context.
All right, so they consider them to be not human being. Okay, now please
Right.
contend. No, let's see if JM is fair. Let's check JM's morality here. All right, they think these guys are beasts. They are not human beings, and the Palestinians think that the end of times will not come until every Jew is dead.
That's not true.
Hold on a second. Which one is worse? This question is for JM, not for Hassan.
I just need to correct you. You're making a false statement. It's
not-
Hamas that thinks
I
that.
can
It is-
still answer. Hassan.
Again,
I
I'm
can still
being
answer.
interrupted
You
because
can
the
come.
truth is coming out. The truth is coming
I
out.
can
So
answer. Hassan, hold on.
being
I can
interrupted.
answer.
So
Hassan
I'm being
can come and
interrupted.
correct if there's any incorrect inaccuracies. Hassan, I'm going to go what Nelson has said. If
Thank you.
that's what they
Hold on,
believe.
let me just finish. Let me just.
Hold
I
on,
didn't
okay, go ahead. You
finish.
finish,
I didn't
and I'll
finish.
answer.
I didn't finish. Yes, the Jews think of the Palestinians as beasts. Do I agree with that? No.
Right.
Do I agree with Palestinians quoting hadiths that says that every Jew must at the end of time will not come until every Jew is dead? How do you resolve that? How do you reconcile that?
Both evil. That's I said that from the beginning. If that is indeed what they believe, I don't believe that no human being has a right to call for the genocide of another race of people. I don't care who it is. It's both evil. I can say that, Nelson, that it's both evil.
Yes.
It's both
But
evil.
yeah, but yes, I can say the same thing. But we are not talking. But this situation here is not about how they view each other. This situation here is political in nature. Is who started what. So for example, if you're going to talk about from a moral perspective, you're absolutely right. Where they both coming from. That's why they both need Jesus Christ. Where they both coming from, yes, it is evil because both of them believe that one is a beast and the other one should annihilate the other one. Now, yes, morally speaking, they're both evil. I'm with you 100%. But this is a political issue that you guys decided to stray away from and go into religion. This is a political issue. This is about October the 7th. This is not even before October the 7th. This is about October the 7th, Hamas being the aggressors, and then Israel declaring war, and then you guys complaining about the casualties of war.
Can I speak now?
Yeah, go ahead, Hassan. Go ahead.
I just
haven't
want
got long, by the way. I've got another 10 minutes, I think.
It's pretty
Go
much
ahead,
same here. I've got early start as well. I just wanted to respond. You said, sorry.
You both lost.
Oh, so you said
you both lost. I'll spell it. LOST. Both.
You said when you were asking JM the question, the Jews have this, they're calling them beasts, and then the Palestinians have quoting certain hadith, and I corrected you saying it's not the Palestinians, I try to correct you. It's not the Palestinians, it's Hamas, because Hamas doesn't necessarily represent all the people. And you said, oh, you interrupting, or the truth is coming out now. The truth is coming out. What is it that I'm hiding with my intentions, do you think?
Absolutely, I can answer that for you. What you're hiding is you are denying that on the first chapter, because you said that's a lie. That was actually your exact words. What you're doing is you're denying what the hadith that we can find right now, if you guys want to, the hadith that's the Hamas quoted in their first charter, which says that the end of times will not come until every single Jew is dead. I think I've mentioned it several times now. Now you hold on a second. You said that was a now. If I would agree with you if what Hamas quoted, okay, if what Hamas quoted in their charter in the 1988 Avalon project, if what they quoted was not in the Islamic scriptures, I would be absolutely with you and I would agree with you.
Do you know why?
Since it is in the Islamic scriptures and you said it was a lie, that means you were lying.
Okay, yeah. So thank you for clarifying. That's not what I said. That's not what I was saying that it was a lie. That's not what you said. You said the
was the
Hamas
exact word.
chart.
It's a lie.
No,
That's a lie.
can I respond to you what you said, please? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Thank you. So you said it's in their charter. You never said it's the first charter. You never said the 1988 charter. I said it's a lie because you said it's in the charter. You only referencing the 1988 charter, which is now obsolete. I was referring to the 2017 charter, which is the current charter, which doesn't have that. That's one. Two, you refer to them as the Palestinians are saying this. Do not associate the Palestinians with Hamas. Hamas does not represent the people, represents its own interests. If it did represent the people, so many people wouldn't be dying. Because the people aren't waiting for the bombs to drop on them like they're suicidal, like they want to be destroyed. Because you can see them burying their dead, grieving, being frustrated with what's going on, crying, burying their babies repeatedly. They're not suicidal. That's the point I wanted to make. And before I carry on with that, I'm glad that you've stated that Israel is evil from a Christian perspective, because Israel's actions, although you've been struggling with it for a while now, and you are making it obvious. But the idea,
take note. Go ahead.
You take note. Okay. There's no side digs. There's no side digs. It's just your position and my position on the issue. I'm not targeting you, although you have a perspective, generally speaking, that is morally bankrupt, in my opinion, on this issue. Because it's my opinion. It's my opinion. You can say you've suggested I'm a Hamas supporter on this live just now, and
both of you.
You alluded to it.
I said both of you are.
Yeah. I'm not, and I made it very clear I'm not.
You think I play semantics with words? Both of you are.
I don't think you play semantics with words.
Very straight.
I don't think your words you use semantics. I think you're morally bankrupt. And when it comes to this issue, and in fact, when it comes to Muslims generally speaking, and how you perceive Muslims and how you perceive Islam, which is, I get an issue with your moral compass more than anything else. But you're not on trial here. You're not the issue. It's Israel is the issue. Israel is clearly willing to kill innocent civilians, and the objective is kick them out, get rid of them, eviscerate them. We don't care anymore because we own all of Israel. For some reason, there's an obsession with this land. These people who are by the majority, not Europeans or North Africans or people from other parts of the Middle East who have no genetic heritage to that land. Israel is nothing but a U.S. military base. There is no moral justification because the innocence of, I can't imagine the Jewish scripture condones the unwarranted, undeserved murder of innocent children. People could quote certain verses in the Bible, but I don't think that applies to all people at all times. There's no justification for it. I think it really is, this Israel-Palestine conflict is really a mirror to our own souls and what's really in our own hearts and what evil we're willing to support in some cases.
I would say they're trying to conflate politics with morality. I think this is what you guys are trying to do, and as a result, you're trying to blur the lines. But if we were to talk strictly politically, and if the timeline started from October the 7th, then we would have to all agree that from October the 7th, Hamas committed the atrocities from October the 7th. They're the ones who started this. Because that's what we agreed to talk about. So from October the 7th, timeline begins. It was Hamas that went out there and provoked this situation to happen. Therefore, Israel declared war. So now, I'm glad that you've conceded that Islamic scripture, Islamic ayah, or Islamic hadith, it was quoted by Hamas in the 1988 Avalon Project Charter. I'm glad you did that. Thank you for that. I know they've updated their charter to 2017, but it doesn't matter whether they've updated or not, because guess what? That piece of scripture, that hadith is still in the scripture, so that hasn't gone away. So we can see how Hamas really feels about Israel. morally speaking. This is how they feel about Israel. And JM is absolutely right. Morally speaking, since you guys want to go into religion and morality, yeah, morally speaking, yes, absolutely, JM is 100% right. That's exactly how the Jews probably view thingy by calling them beasts and so on. Because according to, well, there's nothing in the Old Testament that directly says go and wipe out the Palestinians, but there is I think I might be wrong on this one, but I do think there might be I don't know, maybe in the hadith, maybe in the hold on a second, in the Talmud, even that I can't, the term goyim, I think, yeah, goyim might be what JM is referencing to, and that's why they're calling them beasts and so on and so forth. But is there something specific even in the Talmud to say target Muslims directly? I don't think there is. But then again, if you're going to call everyone else that's not a Jew goyim, then I guess Muslims would come under that as well. So to me, two evil ways of thinking, morally speaking. But but the thing is, if we are going to separate, if we're going to take that away, morality away, put that away, put religion and morality away, and we deal strictly with what's happening politically on the ground. Not that we can, stray away from the morality of the issue, but if we're going to talk about who's right and who's wrong, then and the timeline starts from October 7th, then I'm sure we can all agree that it was Hamas who were the aggressors, and Israel is responding. Now, you guys, obviously, your issue is that what Israel is doing, their response is a bit too much. It's genocide, it's ethnic cleansing. I've heard those terms being mentioned here. I don't
think anybody said genocide.
Okay, sorry. Ethnic cleansing. Like I said in the beginning, don't start nothing, won't be nothing. And they started a war. Is it right what they are doing? When you're and my justification for that has been, well, when you're fighting evil force like Hamas that doesn't mind hiding behind civilians, it's impossible to fight them. And you can't blame Israel for saying, I'm sorry, but we don't want to suffer high levels of casualties by sending forces on the ground, because we will suffer high levels of thinking, because these people are not people that fight fair. So also, you guys keep saying Palestinians and this question is for Hassan. Is there any Palestinians? Because I've seen a couple of videos that kind of contradict what you guys have been implying or saying. I've seen Palestinians praising the fact that kids have died, and saying that this is one woman even said, thank God I've basically, she sacrificed 3 of her sons, and she said that's a good thing. And I remember from her son's mouth, her son did tell me that it was the Palestinians, it was Hamas that started off this people basically strapping themselves with bombs and going out there and bombing themselves and blowing up themselves. It was Hamas that started that.
They brought up restaurants in Tel Aviv and buses.
Yeah.
You can Google this stuff. Civilian areas. Yeah.
So to me,
not started. They do it.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, So at the end of the day, the way I see it is, I don't think when we say, innocent Palestinians, I would love to know from you guys how many of the Palestinian population are in favor of what Hamas is doing, whether you guys got the figures or not, and how many are not in favor of what Hamas is doing. And I've seen an example of people that are not in favor of what Hamas is doing. They even protesting up north. That was great for me to see. They're finally doing something, because at this rate, Hamas is going to sacrifice them all. So the thing is, but we can't deny the fact that there is Palestinians that are happy to bomb themselves and kill themselves in the name of their religion and Hamas. Would I be incorrect in saying that? I knew it.
Am I allowed to speak?
No. I Hassan go first.
I'll let you go, because I was. You go first, because
So your question is, Nelson, in a nutshell, is what in a nutshell?
Sorry?
In a nutshell, what's your question?
What's my question? My question is,
Yeah.
because you guys keep describing the Palestinian population as nice and innocent creatures, and yet we know it was the Palestinians who started the whole bombing
Well, the
themselves.
children are innocent. We all agree in that.
I haven't even finished. You asked me a question.
Okay.
Anyways, the point that I was trying to make that I've forgotten because of JM. Okay, here we go. Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, how percentage wise, what percentage of the population do you think is pro Hamas? Meaning they're willing to sacrifice their lives, because I've actually seen videos where they are praising the fact that their sons have died and they've gone to Allah and they've died as martyrs for Allah and so on and so forth. What percentage of the population do you think are with Hamas, are fighting with Hamas, and are happy that Hamas is doing all of this? Because you have to admit what Hamas is doing is mad, willing to sacrifice their own people. If everyone was really truly against it, you would think that the protest would have started a long time ago. But nevertheless, there is a culture within Hamas, which is to send people out there to basically strap themselves with bombs and kill themselves. So what percentage of the population do you think are pro-Hamas, and what percentage of the population do you think is not pro-Hamas?
So my understanding, half of the population is below the age of 18. That's what I've been reading.
I think
That half of the
75%.
population okay, so 75% are below the 18. So that immediately cancels out what Nelson's saying straight away, because you can't put children into the category of pro-Hamas supporters. Children will not be in a position to be pro-Hamas, and if they are, they literally will just be echoing what their parents say. So straight away, Nelson, you've just highlighted the fact with your question that the majority of the Palestinians are not pro-Hamas.
So you said that the majority of the Palestinians are not
Yeah,
pro-Hamas.
they're under 18 years of age.
So if you're under 18 years of age and you've been what age do people start to reason?
Over 18, maybe?
No, people don't start reasoning over 18. What's the
I would
age?
suggest so. What's the age of voting in most countries? It's about 16, it's about 18.
No.
What's the age of voting? It's 18. So mostly, in most lands, you're not considered an adult till you're 18. So
I think
Nelson,
Octavio
take
just
the
wants
L.
it. I think Octavio just wants a justification to kill all these babies because they're apparently
You're going to
Hamas.
take the L on that. You're going to take the L on that point, Nelson.
No, I
You're
can't.
you're going to take the L on that point. Majority of the majority of Palestinians are not Hamas supporting. They're kids.
Okay, so are they kids that
Hamas
grew up?
supporters.
Hold on, are they kids that grew up believing, whether it's through their parents? I think most of them would be through their parents, believing that what Hamas is doing is right. Do you agree with that? They would grow up thinking.
I don't know.
Right?
I genuinely could answer that question. I don't know because they're kids.
Who cares what they think? They're kids.
Yeah, they're kids.
Who cares what they think? They're kids.
In the Palestinian Superman, for all I know. I don't know what they believe in.
This guy wants to take toddlers to prison, man. You want to take toddlers to prison? Is that what you want to do?
So you don't believe these kids believe in the ideology that they've been taught by their parents? You're calling them kids.
You know what? These are the same kids. These are the same kids that go to Israel.
What's another in Palestine? What's another there?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It does matter. Because
England,
if you're 16, you're considered to be an adult.
It's still well above 70%. It's still
Nelson, this is the point.
There you go.
See those Palestinian children you're talking about. If they went to Israel and the Israeli treated them well, they would love those Israelis. That's their kids.
They're kids.
Kids only like people that treat them well. If they went to Israel and a bunch of Israeli men say, "Hey guys, come on, let's play a game of football, and here's ice cream, and you want to go and watch this?" They would love those Israeli men. They would be like, no, I'm not going to play football with those guys. They're Israelis.
Okay, so let me ask
you
this question now. So no Palestinian has ever supported Hamas then?
Wow.
Because they were all once kids.
Just say you want to kill Palestinian babies and just leave it.
No, because every single child is raised by their parents, and they are influenced. So, for example, I'm influencing my kids to believe in Christianity.
I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it, Nelson. I know you want us to go with this. I'm going to go there. Okay. Okay. Have you ever heard of the phrase? One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. Have you ever heard that phrase before?
Yeah, I think that was by Nelson Mandela.
Right. So yeah, I could see how some of the Palestinians would be like, you know what? I am pro Hamas. Because you're looking at people that are, listen, if those guys over the street think that I'm a beast and I'm not a human bloody being,
kill my
right? And there's a history of them oppressing me, and I'm seeing that there's a history of them oppressing me. I have the keys around my neck. My dad has the keys around his neck, because this is literally what they do. My granddad and dad had the keys around their neck for when their homes were bombed and they had to forcibly move. And I heard about that. Why wouldn't I be pro anything that wants to do harm to those people that want to do harm to me? This is human nature.
Yeah. Bro, can I clap for you? Can I clap for you? Hold on, can I clap for you? Let me clap for my brother JM. JM, that was a Don DeMarco. Don DeMarco. Look, I even done it for you, JM. I even done it for you, brother.
Let's see the U-turn on this car.
Yeah, here we go, man. Hamas is speaking for the computer. I can't. Anyway, what did you guys hear what JM said? That was so beautifully put. He basically just explained the process of reasoning. You know, he basically gave you an example of a human being reasoning. Okay, he said, look, I'm looking at this and I'm seeing this, I'm looking at that and I'm seeing that, I'm observing all of these things, and then I come to a decision. I would hate them too, I would disagree with them too. That was the process of reasoning. That's exactly what an adult does. That's someone who is capable of thinking does, because an 18-year-old is not a child. A 16-year-old is not a child. Okay. They are thinking for themselves and they are making a decision. When you are able to process thought, when you're able to process and reason the way JM just described, you are an adult who is able to make its own decision. And that's exactly my point.
Okay, so these 14-year-olds, because when it comes to that basic level of reasoning, so what's that? Well, let's even lower it to 7 years old or 6 years old, because a 6-year-old can come to this reasoning. A 6-year-old can come to the reasoning as well. Mommy, why are the bombs being dropped on us? Oh, it's Israel. Yeah. Oh, I hate Israel. Made us homeless, destroyed our family, destroyed our streets. So are you suggesting that it's okay for Israel to kill a 7-year-old because they've come to the conclusion that Israel is the enemy?
No, because in the example that you gave, what was happening there is that the 7-year-old was actually asking the father, Dad, why is this happening the way it's happening? So he's not using his own mind just yet. What he's doing is still depending on the father to understand what's actually going on around him. And the father, this is where indoctrination comes from. We are fighting for a large, my child, that we are fighting for freedom against the pigs, the Jews, and that's why we need to abide by Hamas and follow it. This is what's going on, brother.
Okay,
where's my Don DeMarco? Where's my Don DeMarco?
You deserve no Don DeMarco. This is nonsense. You're trying to move the goalposts and present the idea that one can come to the conclusion that Israel is the enemy, but if one comes to the conclusion with the assistance of their parent, which is still the applies to the 17-year-old or 14-year-old, the society still dictates all the information they receive, and then they can come to their own conclusions, because there are people in the West that have the same conclusion. People in the West that say who aren't Muslims, who aren't Arabs, who don't live in Gaza, who say Israel is the aggressor. They come to that conclusion. Are they Hamas now? Is the guy down the road, is the blonde-haired, blue-eyed girl down the road who's in her 20s or her 30s, who's come to the same conclusion that Israel is the aggressor and for dropping bombs on Israel? Is she Hamas now? Is the Prime Minister of England Hamas now? Is the Prime Minister of Spain Hamas now?
Oh, Keir Starmer is definitely Hamas. Keir Starmer is definitely Hamas all the way.
South Africa.
South Africa, the legal system, the legal judges in South Africa, not even the average, not the layman. These are people with high reasoning who've taken Israel
I'm
to
still
the
stuck
ice.
in Keir Starmer. I'm still stuck on Keir Starmer. What other names did you come up with?
Most of Europe, most of the leadership in Europe, South Africa, the legal system in South Africa, the presidential system in Africa, so the political elite in South Africa, most developed adults with high
every human rights action watch or charity or human rights organization, all of them have condemned Israel, all without fail.
The chairman of China, Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, everybody with high level of reasoning, position, authority, and of a mature age has come to the same conclusion. You're making out the idea that we're all Hamas. Everybody's
What conclusion did they what conclusion did they come out with? So what's the conclusion?
That Israel is committing war crimes. That Israel is targeting.
No. I'm asking by saying that, what are they saying? Are they saying that the war should then stop? Yeah.
Yes, the bombing should stop. Yes.
Okay, the bombing should stop.
The way Israel.
The bombing should stop. Okay, the bombing should stop, and what they are proposing happens after.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. No. If somebody's sexually assaulted. Here we go.
Yo, guys, just say you want Hamas back in power again, bombing Israel again. Just say that.
Well, no, that's not what we're saying. We're saying that the murder of innocent children. No, that's what you're hearing. And you hear what you want to hear on this topic.
No, because all they have to do is give back the refugees, and the war will stop.
No, they don't.
We know that's not going to happen.
Because they're killing the hostages. They're literally killing them.
Why not try it though? Why not try it?
Because they're killing the hostages.
Who's killing the hostages?
Israel. Where do you think
Israel's killing the hostages?
No, I'm not talking. So precise. Do you think these bombs have?
No, let me ask you a quick question.
No. Let's say they're killing the hostages. They're killing the hostages.
Who knows more about fighting Nigel Benn than Chris Eubank? Do you know more about fighting Nigel Benn than Chris Eubank?
Yeah, I do.
They don't. He's fought him 3 times. You haven't fought him once.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Right. So the point I'm making is that we're here saying, "Oh, why are Hamas doing this, that, and the other?" They know their enemy more than we do. They've been in the enemy's clutches. They've seen the spit from their mouths when they talk, when they're in their prisons. Okay, they know who their enemy is, Nelson. So the idea that we're saying, "Oh, why do they don't do this?" Because if they do this,
so
we would know what the Israelis are going to do would be the people that they've been oppressing.
Okay, James. So you're going to be fair then, yeah? You're going to be fair that it's also safe to say that Israel knows more than Hassan, me, you, or how dangerous Hamas is and how deceptive they are, because they actually have fought them, right?
And because they funded them too. Don't forget that part.
Yeah.
Hold on. Are you going to be consistent or not?
I agree with you because they funded them also.
It doesn't matter whether they funded them. You're always deflecting.
No, hold on a second. You asked
me a question. Right there.
No. Hold on. You asked me a question. You said, "Do they know how
too easy
how Hamas operate?" I'm agreeing with you. I say yes, they do know how Hamas operate because they've been central in funding them. So I'm agreeing with you.
No, you're not. You're deflecting, bro. And you could have just said, you could have just said, yes, they know how Hamas is. They know
Hamas Israel funded Hamas.
They won't let me finish. They won't let me finish because the truth is coming out. The truth is coming out. It's hurting them.
Has Israel funded Hamas? Yes or no?
Yes, it has. The point I'm trying to make.
So the point they know what they can.
But this is
reflecting if they funded them.
This is a U-turn. Basically, what it is since Hamas knows Israel pretty well, guess what? Israel also knows Hamas pretty well
because they funded them.
No, because they fought each other. Because they
funded them.
They've been at war for well, no, not at war, but they've been fighting each other for a long time. They know each other, so they know exactly how Hamas
funded both sides.
See, I'm consistent on both sides. You guys are not consistent.
No, you're not.
Israel are not consistent. They fund each part. They funded Hamas.
No,
Hamas didn't fund Israel.
And they're asking for the hostages.
Hassan hates Jews. That's all it is.
And they're asking for the hostages to be freed while they're killing the hostages. This doesn't make sense. This doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I don't care whether they're killing the hostage or not. What I do care is what I do care is. Hold on a second. What I do care.
You want the murder of Muslims.
Can I finish? He thinks he's got.
It's not going to
Anyways,
make Christianity grow any stronger. Jesus is not going to come back and go, hey, thanks, guys. You killed
there you go.
Muslims.
There you go.
They were making the place look kind of shabby.
So
Thanks for killing
basically,
these Muslims.
Yeah. Cool. So basically, what I care about is the fact that Israel has demanded something. They said, you know what? Give us back the hostages, okay? And surrender, and the war stops. That's been the demand from that's been the demand since the war began, and they haven't done that. So at the end of the day, what Israel does with the hostages once they get the hostages, it's neither here nor there, and I do not care about that. What I do care is the fact that one is superior militarily speaking, which is Israel, and the other one knows that they can never outgun Israel. They know that they don't have that power. And instead of them saying, you know what, yeah, guys, we can't keep fighting this war because we're never going to win. So let's at least save our Palestinian people by surrendering and giving back the hostages. Okay, it's the moral thing to do. They don't want to do that. They don't want to do that. And this is the point I'm trying to make. What Israel does with the hostages is neither here nor there. What matters is meet their demands, and then let's see what happens next.
Can I ask you something?
Hold on a second. Hold on. Let me just in conclusion. Now,
Sorry.
if after that happens, Israel ends up continuing their bombing campaign, and they continue, I'll wear the Hamas flag. You know what I'm saying? I will be out there saying what they do it is wrong. They met their demands. What Israel keeps bombing them, that's wrong. That's evil. Israel needs to stop. I'll be with Hassan out there, even though Hassan doesn't really go to the protest. But the thing is, I'll be out there. You know what I'm saying? I will be with the left. You know what I mean? Those actually I wouldn't be. No, I wouldn't. You never catch me with those people. But yeah. But that would be the situation. So, no.
Can I present a scenario?
No, you cannot. No, I'm joking.
Okay. Thank you for mentioning that I don't do the protest because I don't want to be associated with these weirdos running around in central London doing types of nonsense, smoking their cigarettes. Free Palestine. Anyway, because I don't agree with protesting. I think it's weaselly. I think generally speaking, that it doesn't make sense. I mean, I'm not a fan of that, you know. But boycotts, yeah, that makes sense. It actually makes sense. But anyway, that's a side point. Let's say you both have kids, right?
Sorry?
Yeah.
You both have kids. Let's say your kids were in school and there's a hostage situation, and the police are standing outside. They're negotiating with the captor, or whatever the captor, the guy holding the hostages. And we've seen this in various. This happened throughout, the UK and the US. It's happened throughout history, where somebody hijacks a school or a hospital or something. So whatever, it happens all the time. And then they make demands. They go, we want this, we want that, blah blah. And then the police usually try to negotiate while they're sending the team through the back entrance. So they're working both sides. They're using negotiation, and they're using stealth operatives to creep up and gain access to the building. Right. What would you think of the police force if they said, you know what, this is going too slow. They're giving us one or two hostages. Just blow the place up, man. Forget this.
This is my point I'm making. Nobody would think that's normal behavior.
Would you say,
in the context?
Would you say, hey, my kid's in there, what are you doing? Or would you say, you know what, I blame the hostage, I blame the captors?
Right.
Do you want me to answer that? Do you want me to answer that? Yeah. Look at these two laughing as if they got one over me.
I want to hear it.
Let me just answer that for you, quickly. No, don't bomb my children are in there. What you need to do is you need to negotiate, give those bloody criminals what they want, okay? And keep the children, everyone in there safe. That's exactly what you need to do. But yeah, don't do that.
Okay, so you're a Hamas supporter. Thanks very much for confirming.
For the second time we've done that this evening.
I gotta go, man. It's getting late for me. I got an early start.
Wait,
No,
let me do my final thoughts.
hold on. We haven't even done the last thoughts. We haven't even done like we're about to do the last thoughts. No, I'm not Hamas
Yeah.
because that example is not the same as what's going on in Israel. It's
It
not the
is, it is.
same thing. It's completely different. So if that
It
analogy
is.
was actually the same analogy, because I knew he was going to start giggling after I said what I said. So, but the thing, so at the end of the day, it's not the same analogy. It's not what's going on in Hamas by no stretch of the imagination. Now, last thoughts. Go ahead, guys.
So number one, I make you go first. That's all right. I'm finished. Go ahead.
No.
You
Okay, sure. I'll go first.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think Hamas. I think, to be honest with you, I despise Hamas. I despise them taking this military strategy to gain some sort of independence or retribution on the thing, because you can see how evil Israel is. You can see how how limitless they are. I don't know why October 7th was some sort of idea of resistance or some fashionable. I don't know if they're trying to get a deal with Hollywood or win an Oscar or something to make this dramatic thing. Where I don't know what's going on, because all they've done is ended up sacrificing a lot of their own people. I think the Israeli government is evil. I think they have no morals. I think to look at an area heavily populated with civilians and say, you know what, let's just drop bombs on them all and kill as many people as we can, and who cares? We're just going to keep on going. It's modern ethnic cleansing. I won't use the word genocide because I don't like these trigger words. These words established by the left to make endless poetry of people's lives and endless stories. This is all too serious, and it's horrific. There's horror across the world. Don't get me wrong. The Saudi government has done atrocious things to Yemen. The Syrian leadership have done horrible things to their own people. There's death on all sides. There's death throughout the world. What's happening in Israel does not represent the Jewish people. This has nothing to do with Judaism. This is not a part of their religion. To be a Jew is not to be evil. So there is no justification for anti-Semitism or anti-Jewishness in response to what's going on with Israel. There's no way of anti-Israeliness, because the Israeli people, this doesn't represent the Israeli people, really, to be honest. I don't care what people say. If you demonize the Israeli people, then that's demonizing of the Palestinian people. Just because they're Israeli doesn't mean they support what their government does. Hamas is evil. The Israeli government is evil. I hope people looking in from outside can see that and not justify the murder of Jews or the murder of Palestinians in any way, shape, or form. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so
all right.
Do I go or do you want me to go?
You can go, bro. You can go.
Okay, so first of all, I'm not a Hamas supporter. Make that very clear. I think the Hamas terrorists that went and perpetuated October 7 are evil. And I think the Israeli leadership and I think it's IDF, I think that's what they're called, are evil too. They both have engaged in the mindless killing of innocents, and I condemn that outright. What frustrates me more is the double standards and hypocrisy that is displayed regarding this issue. And I'm not putting that at Nelson, I'm talking about just worldwide. If this was anywhere else in the world, you would have had human rights, and you would have the United Nations peacekeepers on the ground trying to restore some type of law and order. This is what would be happening anywhere else. To be some type of coalition force that would be there trying to create peace, to prevent the killing of innocent children and women. This is what will be happening, but for some reason, and this is what frustrates me and I think other people and fuels the anger, and maybe sometimes makes us come across as Hamas supporters, is because we are frustrated and angered at the fact that Israel seems to have unlimited kind of carte blanche to do what they want. And if you call out their behavior, sometimes you're called anti-Semite or whatever stupid words they want to use. And that kind of thinking is what frustrates us the most. So yeah, that's my ultimate view. I don't like the killing at both sides, but what really frustrates me is the double standards and hypocrisy of calling out one side more than the other, especially the oppressed people. I hate the idea of oppressed people being seen as the victims, as the perpetrators of their own situation, their own downfall. So that's my final thoughts.
Yes, sorry. Let me just my final thought. I think Hassan and JM do not despise Hamas. I think they are pro Hamas. They keep justifying war crimes like Hamas hiding behind children, hospitals, schools. They keep justifying war crimes like Hamas not wearing army fatigues, and which would entail wearing civilian clothes so that they are not identified. They haven't. JM attempted to condemn. Um, he saw the lack of immorality. So he saw the immorality in what Hamas was doing, what Hamas is doing in terms of hiding behind civilians. He mentioned that, but then again, he contradicted himself because he kept justifying it at the same time. Knowing, they want Hamas to not face. Both of you, Hassan and Jem, want Hamas to not face justice. They want Hamas to basically go free. Why do I say that? I say that because um, the only way they can win this war, because they're fighting a so-called army that wears civilian clothes, is by them consistently bombing them, because they don't wear army fatigue. So if they stop the bombing, what will end up happening is that the war will basically Hamas will basically go free, and Hamas will get what they want, and then we're going to continue having the same problems. So that's exactly what you guys want. You want Hamas to go free, to not face justice. And what else? What else? What else is there? What else is there? Um, do I think that all Palestinians are innocent? No, I don't think. I think there are Palestinians that are pro Hamas, believe in the cause of Hamas, and are fighting for Hamas. We've just recently we've had an example of Palestinians that are against Hamas because they actually decided to go into the streets and protest and said, we've had enough. We don't want to keep dying because of what Hamas is doing. They understand the situation better than these two here that live in the UK, because they realize that it's Hamas putting them in that predicament. And Hamas only have one thing to do in order to save Palestinian people. All they have to do is turn around and say, you know what? We're going to meet their demands. We're going to give back the hostages. And let's say if Israel violates that, then we will see how evil Israel truly is. And I think there will be a huge backlash against Israel if Hamas gives up the hostages and surrenders themselves, and they continue to bomb and kill Palestinian people. Both what's his name, Hassan and JM, haven't contended with this issue. They haven't even acknowledge this, that this could be a solution, that Hamas needs to give up the hostages. You guys keep making up excuses for them, which shows the fact that you're pro Hamas. So at the end of the day, I am right. I won this debate, even though it was 2 against 1. I'm always right. I hate being always right. But yeah, I do feel for the people on a human level. I do feel for all the children that are dying right now. And I really do feel for them. It's not right. Even those that believe in Hamas's cause, I believe that they are doing it out of fear. Maybe some are not doing it out of fear. Maybe someone truly believe in it, but I believe that what they're doing it out of ignorance, even those that believe in it. But yeah, it's a shame what's happening to them. But yeah, I won anyway, guys. That was my final thoughts. Hello, anyone there?
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, we're here.
Anyways, guys, it was a nice conversation. I enjoyed it.
Good.
Yeah. Peace, everyone, bro. I'll see you guys next time.
Good evening. Take care.
Don't be too upset, Hassan. Don't be too upset. Peace.